Okay, you guys, look, I know this is none of my business, but I have to ask. What's Sheldon's deal?
What do you mean, deal?
You know, like, what's his deal? Is it girls, guys, sock puppets?
You're riding Morning Shotgun with the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here weekdays, streaming on the Armchair Quarterbacks app. Download it today. Your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
If I could get out of this place.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by The Best Things in Life, which are still free with minimum purchase at participating dealers.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
What do you believe in then?
Well, I believe in the soul, the small of a woman's back, the hanging curveball, high fiber, good scotch, that the novels of Susan Sontag are self-indulgent, overrated crap. I believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I believe there ought to be a constitutional amendment outlawing AstroTurf and the designated hitter. And I believe in long, slow, deep, soft, wet kisses that last 3 days.
Oh, my. Armchair.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, y'all. Get your morning started off right. Weekdays with the Armchair Quarterbacks, riding shotgun with you wherever you're heading.
Early in the morning, I say good morning. Hello, and how are you?
Armchair.
He only has 3 rings.
I'm 7-0 this season. You auto-drafted. That's what all the great GMs do. They delegate. You didn't do anything. Yeah, I did. I set the cue.
Without fantasy football, what would friends talk about?
I almost wore shorts today. Oh. I was going to do a sweatshirt shorts combo. Switched to pants instead.
Armchair.
Dread running to the post office? Stamps.com brings post office and UPS services right to your computer. Send letters, ship packages, and get up to 40% off USPS and up to 62% off UPS rates. Nearly 1 million small businesses use Stamps.com to save time and money. It's a no-brainer. So skip the post office and visit Stamps.com. Use promo code LISTEN for a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. That's Stamps.com, promo code LISTEN.
This is Jim Rome. Join me in the jungle for your phone calls and the biggest names in sports. Stop by weekdays, noon until 3 Eastern, 9 to noon Pacific.
Don't kid yourself would be a great slogan for a condom company.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
But what the hell, boy?
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
It's morning.
Yes. And what a lovely morning.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Red light just turned green and somebody's already beeping at you. What the f is your problem? I'm cussing at all the slow drivers because I left at 8:55 and I need to be at work by 9. Merge is on the 65 mile per hour freeway going 35. Where's the lie? This is the international hand symbol for what the f are you doing? This is the face you make when you let someone merge into traffic and they don't thank you wave. So ungrateful. When your friend is texting and driving and swerves into another lane and looks at you and just says, my bad.
Armchair.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on CBS Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good morning, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Major League Baseball gets your Wednesday rolling with the Cubs and Reds at 12:35 Eastern. Tyler Mahle is on the hill. At 7 o'clock, it's the Red Sox and Yankees on ESPN. Nick Pivetta is expected for the Red Sox. At 7:10, Braves and Marlins. Charlie Morton versus Jesus Luzardo, one of the key pieces that Miami got in the trade deadline from Oakland. Orioles and Rays at 7:10. Shane McClanahan is on the hill. At 7:45, you got the Brewers and Cardinals back at it. That's on ESPN+. Brandon Woodruff will take the mound. Other games around the league at 1:10, you got more day baseball as the Indians and Twins. Zach Plesac will try to match his phenomenal outing less than a week ago. The Padres and Rockies, they're set to square off with Blake Snell and Austin Gomber in Denver. And at 3:45, Mets and Giants in their series, Tyler Miguel versus Andy DeSclafani. And at 4:05, you've got the Blue Jays and Nationals. Jose Barrios heads to the nation's capital versus Eric Fetty. Angels and Tigers at 7:10, Shohei Ohtani Day. He will try to improve on his 7-1 record, 2.93 ERA against Tarek Skubal. And at 8:05, it's the Mariners and Rangers. Marcus Gonzalez in Seattle versus Mike Foltynewicz. 8:10, you got the Astros and Royals. Brady Singer hosting Zach Greinke. And the A's and White Sox are back at it again. Cole Irvin, who got hammered his last time out, will try to outduel Lance Lynn. Phillies and Diamondbacks at 9:40. Ranger Suarez for Philadelphia. And the Dodgers send Julio Urias back out to the mound versus Mitch Keller and the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Seattle Seahawks have signed Jamal Adams to a 4-year extension that makes him the highest NFL paid safety, the team announced on Tuesday. Adams has a max value of $72, a $20 million signing bonus, including $38 guaranteed. We officially signed. I'm excited to be here, Adams tweeted out in a video yesterday. It's going to be a wonderful journey, man. The next thing on our mind is getting that ring, getting right back to it and going to get it. After reporting on time to training camp but not participating in any practice or games, Adams returns to the practice field Tuesday after signing the deal. According to former U.S. women's national team goalkeeper Hope Solo, Megan Rapinoe is a bully. Solo says that she told all of us, meaning U.S. teammates, that they would have to kneel. Quote, "It's tough. I've seen Megan Rapinoe bully players into kneeling because she really wants to stand up for something in her own particular way. But it's all right as Americans to do it whatever we feel comfortable. And I think it's really hard on being on the main stage right now with so many political issues for athletes. There's a lot of pressure for us. Ultimately, at the end of the day, our number one focus should have always been to win first," unquote. Megan Rapinoe famously, along with LeBron James, took to social media kneeling for the national anthem while Drew Brees was crucified by the media for respecting the flag. And that's your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Stay tuned for the Armchair Quarterbacks radio show and YouTube Live. Please like, subscribe, and share our show today. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for sports talk, live from the First Coast. Get ready for fantasy football. Your draft is just around the corner, and the Armchair Quarterbacks have you covered. It's the Handicappers, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Mock drafts, cheat sheets, sleepers, and busts. It's the Armchair Quarterbacks Handicappers on YouTube Live. We'll give you everything you need to dominate your leagues. Watch the Handicappers Saturdays, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Time. Because getting ready for your fantasy football draft is more important than whatever the hell you're thinking about right now. Good morning. It's time to wake up, y'all. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern sports talk. Good morning, Mr. Sean O'Toole.
Good morning, Mac McGee. I don't know much, but I know one thing. It's one of my favorite days of the year. Matthew Berry's Love Hate has dropped on ESPN Plus. It's usually my yearly Bible for fantasy football. Love reading that guy. And the end times are truly here when I'm watching a Braves game and I'm clicking over to pull for the Yankees. Something's wrong. I need to get a PCR test or something.
Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. It all explains to me now why it took Sean like 27 years to win a fantasy football championship. Dude, Matthew Berry is a dope, man. He's entertaining, and I like him. He's a nice guy, but he's always famously wrong in fantasy football. I mean, he might be very good at fantasy bowling or something. I'm not sure, but fantasy football, he ain't the guy you go to. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
What's up?
Do you have any cookie dough?
I think so. Let me see. Yeah, we've got a chocolate chip and oatmeal raisin.
Oatmeal raisin? I know at least two things wrong with that cookie.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Hey, howdy, hi, top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. I'm Mac McGee sitting alongside Sean O'Toole. Sean, how the hell are you, my friend?
I am fantastic. I just saw over the wire the 49ers wave Josh Rosen.
Yes.
Woo! He's got to go down as one of the all-time stinkers for quarterbacks taken in the top 10. I think he was exactly number 10 by the Cardinals that year.
They absolutely ruined that guy, man.
Man. He got David Card. He got wrecked behind that line. That was it. It was over.
He is now the guy that everyone's going to reference. Like if you say David Carr to anyone who's like barely legal to vote, they're gonna be like, "What?" Josh Rosen is the new David Carr. Now we're hoping none of these other guys that got drafted this year's the new David Carr, but we never know. I don't care what preseason starts with. Before we dive into football today, though, man, baseball. I'll tell you what, it is
Braves, baby.
Now, look, let me tell you something. You can't text me and say that the Yankees are frisky. They got one of the highest payrolls in baseball. By definition, that's not frisky.
Fair.
Their money's finally coming through.
But the guys that they paid a lot, and there are some guys that they paid a lot, but the ones that they gave up the most capital for haven't, aside from a few Gallo home runs, haven't been it's been Luis Gil, who I just found out last night was traded from the Minnesota Twins for Jake Cave, which is a name I haven't heard in a couple of years. They're getting a lot out of him. Loisaga is, kind of shoring up the back of the bullpen.
Until just a few days ago, Rizzo was tearing the cover off the ball, and then he got
until he got COVID. You're right.
But guys like Luke Voigt finally came back from the IL. The Yankees are loaded. And they're just finally getting their head on their ass is basically what's happening. And I'll also say this, the Red Sox are finally falling back to earth, which is what
falling back to
Angelo texted me a couple of weeks ago, right after we did the Catbird seat, and he's a big Yankee fan. It's a couple of days after that, Red Sox were losing a lot of games, and he said, man, they're falling fast. And I said, no, they're actually becoming the 2021 Red Sox is what they're doing. And they're trying to hold on for dear life. But they did nothing at the trading deadline except add to bat because they had way too much faith in the starting pitching that they have. Look, Eovaldi's a solid pitcher. I'm not going to take anything away from him. But Chris Sale is just now coming back and has not pitched an important game in 2 years, okay? Because beating the Orioles last weekend does not constitute a big game. And and they're skipping him a day in the rotation so that he pitches against the Texas Rangers on Friday. You and I could probably piggyback and find a way to beat the Texas Rangers with that offense behind us. With Boston's offense, forget about it. Chris Sale, after this next start, dude, it's time to put your big boy panties on, because
Right.
they're going to need you in big situations if you're going to make the playoffs. This team is not going to make the playoffs with Martin Perez going to the post. Okay. It's just not going to happen. And so that's what's happening with that. And then the Rays are just being the Rays. The Rays are
Right.
The Rays are small balling you to death. The Rays will
See you in October.
The Rays will outpitch you. They'll find a way to get in October. No, will the Yankees get so hot that they win the division? I don't know. Maybe. I still think it's the Rays. I've been banging the table about the Rays all year, so I'm not going to change my stance. I still have a lot of questions about the Yankees starting pitching, to be honest with you. I don't think that I think they're hot right now, but Luis Hill can just as well go out and just lay a dud this weekend. And you've got Garrett Cole, who's been very good about 75% of the time, but you never know when he's going to lay a dud. And then outside of that, Luis Severino's not coming back. I'm telling you right now, he's going to get.
Doesn't seem like it.
He's getting a second opinion. If he's back, it's he's going to be a bullpen guy. So you're not going to be able to rely on him. They surprised me for not going out and getting more pitching at the deadline. Really good bullpen, and they did some pieces there, but that's that on that. As far as the NL East, the Braves gained another game.
Love it. 2.5 up.
Phillies now 2.5 back of the Braves, and they gained another game on the Mets. The Mets are now 4.5 back, free falling. They will play this afternoon at 3:40, I believe. That'll finish off the Giants series, and then they get to go to Los Angeles to play the Dodgers. So the Mets right now are on a 5-game losing streak. I'm going to call it right now, man. I think they're going to be on a 9-game losing streak by the time I see everyone Monday morning. I don't think they're going to win in San Francisco today. DeSclafani is set to take the hill.
Disco on the hill. Yep.
Oh, and by the way, it did not take long. The New York radio that I listened to, it was after the last start. They're like, get this Rich Hill out of here. What the hell are we looking at? I was like, surprise, surprise. I couldn't understand why they traded for him to begin with. But I believe that Philly's going to play good baseball down the stretch, and they've got an incredibly easy schedule. So the Braves are going to have to play really good baseball down the stretch. They can't just kind of half-ass it. They're going to have to stay hot, because I was looking at the Phillies schedule compared to the Braves schedule, and though the Braves have some cupcakes, it is nothing but cream puff central for the Phillies. They've got like 2 series where you're like, okay, they could lose that series. The rest of them, they should win going away. I mean, they're playing teams like the Pirates. They're playing
Nationals, Miami,
Cubs. The Cubs are the worst team in baseball right now. So they've got a lot going on there that I don't expect the Diamondbacks to pull off another W in this series, but it'd be nice. They've got Castellanos going today versus Ranger Suarez. And so who the hell knows about that game? But Tyler
Cubs have lost 11 straight twice this year, trying to get into the top 5 of the draft, and they're still at 9. I looked that up last night, and I just had to start laughing because there's so many teams worse than them ahead of them that they'll never catch. Arizona, Texas, Pittsburgh. Like, there's just a bunch of them.
Remember, there was that stretch where Arizona lost like 30 of 35 games. It was insane.
Yep. They were 14-13, and then I looked up and they were like 19-51. I was like, what the?
In the history of the Chicago Cubs baseball, which goes back about 140, 145 years, somewhere in that area, they've never had 2 losing streaks of 11 games or more in any of their seasons. And this is a historically bad franchise.
Yep.
So that tells you how bad
lovable losers.
They've absolutely given up. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the first quarter of the Armchair Quarterbacks. Because I know a lot of y'all sitting there looking at the calendar going, guys, we're in August. Can we talk some football? What the hell, man?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. And so we're going to get into the AFC South next hour, by the way. But we're going to go to the Big Ten country and talk Wisconsin Badger football. What say you on the Wisconsin Badgers, our resident Big Ten expert?
Yeah, Wisconsin's kind of year to year the class of the Big Ten's West Division, right? The West Division's top 3 in some order has been Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa, for the last 5 to 7 years. I don't see that changing this year. Paul Chryst has been there 6 seasons now. He's 5-1 in bowl games. they, like a lot of schools, had so much derailed last year. They started off, pretty good, really boat raced Michigan in Ann Arbor, but then lost a lot of games down the stretch to COVID and ended up with a win in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which I still can't believe is a thing that happened, and how we didn't end up just, Gatorading the winning coach with mayonnaise, because that would have been too funny. They're returning a lot of starters, specifically on the offensive line, guys that I really thought would leave. They have 4 seniors on the offensive line out of 5 positions. The only position where they're not starting either a returning or a redshirting senior who opted into another year of eligibility after last season is at right guard, where Jack Nelson's a true freshman, but someone that came very highly regarded. And at the end of the day, this is all going to come down to what it always comes down to, is with Wisconsin. They've shown a little bit more dynamism in the offense the last couple of years. I really think they're going to try and turn the keys over to Graham Mertz and see if he can make plays. They're returning their best 2 wide receivers are both returning seniors as well, Kendrick Pryor and Danny Davis. They've also still got Jack Dunn. This is a university that always turns out good tight ends. Jake Ferguson could be possibly the first or second tight end off the board in next year's NFL draft. So remember that name. And the running back core is always going to be the running back core. They have, going back well over a generation and a half now, all the way back to Ron Dane. This is a university that's always churned out running backs. And it looks like Jalen Berger will be no exception. So their schedule is, I couldn't believe when I looked at their schedule, how favorable and how well it lines up for them. I mean, they have a lot of tough games, but they're at home for the most part. They have one matchup.
Interesting enough, Jack Cohn transfer has been
to Notre Dame. Yeah.
Has been named starter to the Notre Dame, which, by the way, tomorrow is Notre Dame Day here on Armchair Quarterbacks. But yeah, I think this is one of these teams that, and you can't even use your catchphrase frisky with this team. This team is always solid. This program is always solid. And you know what you're going to get out of Wisconsin. You're going to get a team that has a chance to play for the Big Ten championship, or at least get to the Big Ten title game. Not every year they have a chance of actually winning it, because the team on the other side may be a juggernaut, but they have a chance of being in the title game. And they're going to play solid defense and play ground control offense. Looking at their schedule, where do you see the slip ups?
Yeah, the 2 that jump out to me, again, the first game of the year, Saturday, September 4th, big noon, Big Ten football. You've got Penn State coming into Camp Randall. I mean, that's some heavyweights right there, right off the jump. I can't wait to watch that game. The one that really concerns me, because again, all their tough games are at home. Michigan at home. And I don't know that Michigan's tough for them, because they've owned us since Paul Chryst has been there. Iowa is at home. They dodge Ohio State completely unless they play them in the Big Ten championship game. Their toughest games are the Notre Dame game on Saturday, September 25th, which is at a neutral site, neutral nominally, because it's at Soldier Field in Chicago. But I would imagine you would see a lot more, Golden Domers there than people wearing red and white. And then their final game of the year, which could be for all the marbles in the West, is at Minnesota. If both of those teams if Wisconsin has 0 Big Ten losses and Minnesota has 1, Minnesota can try and squeeze their way into Indianapolis by winning that game.
Well, look, the way I see their schedule is this, because it starts off, just for people, ride around going, I don't know what the hell y'all are looking at. They're going to start off with Penn State at home on Fox. That's the Fox big game. That's a big game to start the season off, by the way. That's not let's go and get our feet wet. We don't get with Eastern Michigan. That's not until next week. They're going to get their feet wet with Penn State at home, number 19 in the country. And then they're going to get Eastern Michigan, and then they will get 2 weeks off and then prepare for number 9 Notre Dame, which if they win that Penn State game, right now it's noon on Fox, but I wonder if Fox may not push that up somewhere. I don't think. Well, no, they do have the FS1 night games. I wonder if that game might get moved from noon Eastern, because that's typically your slot of, you're basically just scratching your ass, waking up, watching football. That's not usually not.
It's a lot of K-State, Texas in that time slot. A lot of K-State, Texas.
Yeah, man, that's going to be, that's a lot of Gus Johnson going, touchdown! You look how you go, the hell am I looking at? West Virginia versus Iowa State. I don't give a crap about this. Those three games to start off the 4-game slate, because right after that, the following week with no days off or no weeks off will be Michigan. Penn State, Notre Dame, and Michigan all at home to start off the season, with Eastern Michigan's kind of sandwiched in between there. And then it gets much easier, because then you go to Illinois, you play Army, you're at Purdue, you're at home against Iowa, which Iowa is just basically Wisconsin South is what that is. I mean, they're basically the same program. You can't
Wisconsin light.
Yeah, if you flip flop the damn helmet, you wouldn't know who the hell each player's playing for. So then they get Rutgers, Northwestern, Nebraska, Minnesota. If they can get to middle of October with 1 or 2 losses tops, which I think is what they'll be at. But let's say they get past the Michigan game and they're undefeated, because they can beat a Penn State and they can beat a Notre Dame. And they can definitely beat a Michigan. This team, this team could be. Ohio State's not a foregone conclusion that they're going to be a juggernaut this year. They are.
No.
This team could very well be in the college football playoffs. And they're kind of right now one of my favorites to win the Big Ten. I know we're not going to do those predictions today, but I'm liking a lot what I see from Wisconsin. What say you?
Yeah, they're the one team in the Big Ten of all the ones that I've kind of done my deep dive on that could really upset the apple cart and get into the college football playoff, because you look at the favorability of their schedule. If you come out the gate 3-0 and you get both Penn State and Notre Dame, where are the losses? Because the teams that can beat them are at home. Michigan is at home. You're not going to lose at Illinois. You're not going to lose at Purdue.
At home. Every single,
pretty much.
Even the ones you just mentioned, because the Iowa game's at home. The
Iowa games at Camp Randall as well.
Here's their road schedule, y'all. If you're riding around going, what? Okay, y'all throwing a lot of crap at me at once. They play at Illinois on October 9th. October 9th is their first road game. They play at Illinois October 9th. Then they play at Purdue October 23rd, at Rutgers on November 6th, and finish the season off with their 4th home game. What a gauntlet at Minnesota. That's it. That's it.
The Notre Dame game's at Soldier Field, but not a quote unquote road game. I got it. I got what you're saying though.
My bad on that one. Okay, so that one's
no, it's okay. But
I didn't realize that was at Soldier Field. So if that's at Soldier Field, that's technically a Notre Dame home game, because Chicago is definitely home for Notre Dame. When I lived in Chicago, everyone there was a Notre Dame fan. So okay, so technically, so that could be quite the stumbling block. I thought that was at Camp Randall. If that's in Chicago, I do see Notre Dame winning that game. But that's it. And so they could even absorb that loss, because let's say they lose to Notre Dame, Sean, and they get to the Big Ten championship, and we'll just say it's Ohio State because it normally is. They beat Ohio State. They have the one loss to Notre Dame, as long as it's not an embarrassing loss. This team could be in the playoffs.
And as long as Notre Dame's reputable, if Brian Kelly comes out and goes 5-6 this year, the committee's going to shun that as a win or a loss. But I agree with you. They could be one loss. They could be no losses. I don't see this team losing more than 2 games. And one of those 2 games could be in Indianapolis, for the Big Ten championship, assuming CJ Stroud is able to be plug and play for Ryan Day at Ohio State. We had questions about that last week. But this is the team that's most capable of running the table in the Big Ten and just walking into the playoff. As long as they get past those 2 of those first 3 games are rough, right? Penn State's very good. That's nominally a road game in Soldier Field against Notre Dame. I'm going to watch tomorrow to see how you feel about it, but I'm not very positive on Notre Dame this year. They're replacing a lot of people from the starting 22 last year, including quarterback and some other positions as well. I think it's a step backwards year for Notre Dame, so they can go 2 steps forward. So we'll see if I'm right. But this is a team that can go a lot higher, further, faster than I think anybody gives them credit for, especially in the national media.
So how I always got monitors going on while the show's going on. The NFL Network, dude, I try to put it on there in the mornings, and about once or twice a month, they try to give me a stroke because they will do this game where they're flipping and flopping the pictures. And I'm telling you right now, I was about this far from having a seizure a second ago. I had to get the remote and change the damn thing. I mean, it was like, I don't know what stupid game they're playing. But they did this last year, and it was so bad that I literally had to look away because dude, I was like, dude, I'm about to fall out and start having to grab my tongue over here. This is terrible. I'm surprised someone hasn't sued their ass over this. I keep waiting for that storyline. So every time I try to watch that damn show, I'm like, I can't do this. You got way too much junk going on. Back to Wisconsin. Look, I just think they kind of have to not get in their own way, and they're definitely going to be in the Big Ten championship game. And as long as they don't look, they've got games as far as in conference, it's a cakewalk because they're all at home.
Yeah.
Not that Penn State or Iowa are a gimme, but they are at home. And they're also what are they, almost 2 months apart from each other.
Yep.
So if you lose one or the other, you wouldn't think you're going to lose both. So do they have to be worried about going, road games to Rutgers, who can be, as you like to say, frisky? And I believe Minnesota will be better than they were last year, but not as good as they were in 2019. But that game is in Minnesota, and we all know what that weather's like in late November. So I don't know, Sean. I've got this team going to the Big Ten championship game for sure, and I'll leave it at that until we do our picks. But I was the only team I could see maybe being the team that keeps them out of the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah, the history of Iowa, cutting the legs out of undefeated teams in the Big Ten in October is long, but almost all of those games have taken place in Iowa City. They've very rarely done it on the road. Right. So that would be the.
They do have a good team because I believe we did the show together. Iowa's got a good team, but
they really do.
It ain't Iowa State, buddy. I can tell you right
now. Nope.
For the first time in people's lifetime up there in the, I don't know, I guess they call it the Hawkeye State, but a Cyclone fan might get pissed off about that. But for the first time in a long time, it's no longer the Hawkeye State, it's the Cyclone State, because that team's ready to roll. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Sean and I are going to be doing a little thing called the AFC South, and we're actually going to do predictions. We'll be back in a flash here on the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're in August, baby. We're finally getting to actual predictions. Predictions. Be back in a flash.
I'll be honest, fellas, it was sounding great, but I could have used a little more cowbell.
It's time to jump into DraftKings. Go to DraftKings today at DraftKings.com. Golf, NASCAR, soccer, you name it. And of course, Major League Baseball, basketball, hockey, and football. Go to DraftKings.com. Listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks with DFS advice all year round.
Oh, wow. I'm pretty sure that's going to be there it is. Another flag on the play.
Multiple flags on the play. Holding. Offense number 97. That penalty was declined. Touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 22. Penalty will be applied to the kickoff.
This is going to be one of the strangest calls.
That son of a... You playing against Dick this week? Yeah. Could be worse, man. When I played against him, he ejected all my players.
What?
Armchair.
Lager, the beer that brought the forest down.
I drive an exotic imported sports car. I eat exotic foreign food like frankfurters and pizza. But when it comes to numbing my mind, I'm a patriot. I drink the beer that brought the forest down. I'm a lager man. And with the new 80-bottle trunk pack, you've got enough for the evening. Hey, it's happy hour somewhere.
Lager brings out the patriot in you.
The Armchair Quarterbacks, ESPN Radio's public enemy number one. Weekdays, your first choice for sports talk here in the Southeast.
What happens when 5 eligible bachelors welcome a little girl into their lives?
Hey, it's my turn in the bathroom.
Non-stop hilarity. My 5 uncles.
Hey, Gina, welcome to your new home.
You sleep in there, and we all sleep in here.
The show that shows family values exist even in unconventional families.
Oh, what are you guys doing in there?
Taking hilarious comedy in a whole new funny direction.
I don't get it. Why don't any of you guys have a steady girlfriend? I'm an emotionally abused orphan. Can I get in on any of these group hugs?
My Five Uncles, Thursday nights on LSBC.
I only had a brain.
You're riding Morning Shotgun, your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast, only on
Armchair.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines two of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infidium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Mac McGee and Mr. Sean O'Toole. Riding shotgun with you this morning on CBS Sports Radio. Make sure to jump onto our YouTube channel, Armchair Quarterbacks. As by the way, thank you for all the people who we've gotten quite a few more followers here recently, a bunch of views. So thank you for everyone who's finding the station. We got a lot of stuff for you this fall. Quick programming note: we will be beginning Dixie Football Nation and handicappers every Saturday, every Sunday. That will begin the first weekend of the NFL season. Why are we not doing the Dixie Football Nation on the first college football? I'm going to be in Nashville, and I don't know the logistics on how we're going to be set up, et cetera. We might do a pop-up Dixie Football Nation, but it's not something I'm planning. So it'll be September 11th and September 12th will be the beginning of Dixie Football Nation. Dixie Football will be 8:30 a.m. Eastern, just like this show. And then handicappers will be 10 to noon. Sean and Steven joining us at the 11 a.m. hour. And Joey and his brother Tones will be he's back. He will be joining. They'll be joining us at the 10 a.m. hour. We're gonna try to get some other people who are really that show on NFL kickoffs day. It's gonna primarily be your sports betting and your fantasy football. Much more fantasy football in the second hour. Probably a little more sports betting in the first hour. But we're gonna do both on each, and I'm excited about that. We're also gonna be doing a lot of NFC South talk and a lot of AFC South talk. So that's why we're doing this today. The AFC South, obviously, you got the Colts, you got the Titans, the Jaguars, and the Houston Texans. So, Sean, I've been looking forward to this because I am really psyched about what this year could be like. Now, by the way, do you have the ability to pull up? Because I know I didn't prepare you for this. Do you have the ability to pull up your baseball lines for today? Because I figured that we could do a real quick pick 'em if you can. If you can't, then do not worry about it. But I want to.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna the skin in the game. We're bringing that back. I've had a lot of issues with my soundboard, and I've got a new one coming this week. That's the short of it, and that's why we didn't want to do a lot of the skin in the game stuff. But anyways, so I got 3 apps that I've been using for years. 2 of them, by the way, crapped the bed Monday or Tuesday. It says new update says that your provider needs to do something about this app. It's basically so I can't even open the app anymore. Thankfully, I still have this one waiting for my new soundboard to come in, and then I'll transfer everything. But here's praying this thing doesn't crap the bed over the next few days. But anyways, if not, we're gonna come in just singing to you. He's the armchair quarterback.
That would be amusing. I would enjoy that.
What game are you liking today? Because I got my eye on one.
Ooh, I got two. The first one that jumps right out is 2:10 Central, 3:10 Eastern. Padres at Rockies. Let me give you this pitching matchup really quick. You got some Pepto-Bismol ready? Jake Arrieta versus Chichi Gonzalez.
I saw someone stream Jake Arrieta this morning in one of our fantasy leagues.
Stop it.
I don't know
Get
if you're
help.
in that league. Did you see it?
Get help.
And
No, I
didn't
see it.
He's streaming.
No.
Jake.
What are you doing? Get help.
I think he's playing me. I wanted to be able to so everyone else could see, because it pops up on your phone. So and so. I want the ability to hit the laugh button, like you can on Facebook or whatever, and just put the laughing emoji. Go, what are you doing? I know he desperately needs to win, but Jake Arrieta is not the answer, man. Not in Colorado.
Here's the one. This is one of those weird handicap plays where you have to try and think a little bit and say, is Vegas trying to trick you, right? The over-under on that game is 14.
Yeah.
And I would personally pound the over, right? I will bet you will find handicappers who tell you, hey, this is going to be 5-5 in the first inning. And, both of the Rockies aren't particularly good. So keep an eye out. I'm pounding the over. I'm just saying you're going to run into people who are contrarian. That's the number one that I've got on the board. The number two I want to mention really quick is a game that you and I will definitely both be watching, 2:45 Central, 3:45 Eastern, Mets at Giants. This has kind of been sneakily a low-scoring series, right? McGill did not look great his last start out, and his ERA actually went up a whole run. But I think that was just a bad outing. He got hammered really hard his last outing. A couple of balls got out of the park that wouldn't. And Disco, for people who don't watch a lot of Giants baseball like you and I do, Disco has honestly been their most solid pitcher. He hasn't really had any blow-up starts the whole year, whereas Gossman, even though he's been lights out, has had one or two here or there where he struggled with walks. Disco's not really that guy. He's a strike pounder. That's a game that I was trying to find the over for, and I didn't see it pop up right away. Oh, there it is. It's 8.5. I would definitely bang the under on that. I mean, this game stinks of 3-1, and I mean they played a low scoring game last night.
I'll tell you a really good pitching matchup that has kind of a high over, considering how good these pitchers are. Flaherty versus Peralta, over under is 7. I think you're gonna have a hard time getting to 7. Really hard getting to 7. The game that I like is the Giants on the money line -150 at home against the Mets. I just think the Mets are not going to score, and it's going to be it's going to be
been able to score so far. So.
And that West Coast East Coast thing that I always like to talk about. This is East Coast West Coast, because they just played a late game. They're jet lagged as hell going out there to San Francisco, and they're now going on short rest. And typically the West Coast team has a big advantage when they play at 3:45 after a night game, because it's essentially they're crawling out of bed at like 6 a.m. Local time to head towards the facility after getting very little sleep. I like the Giants on the money line. Some of these other games that you don't want to take because the payback is just terrible. But if you do want a nice little parlay, what I like to call gimme parlays, meaning that they've got very little return if you go head to head.
Right.
Reds at home, Tyler Mahle at -300, and I would pair that together with Charlie Morton on the bump going up against the Marlins. He's -230. You pair that together, and you're almost getting you're getting like a -130, -140 payback, I believe. So I don't like doing parlays per se, but I don't mind gimme parlays. I've actually done really well, and I know I'm just jinxing the hell out of myself, but I've done really well over the last couple of months in baseball. Without getting into specific numbers, I have increased my bank by, what is that? 425% at this point. And strictly just been baseball. But my one rule with baseball is you bet several games a day. You don't bet a lot. And you you don't go crazy. In other words, you don't go against, oh, I'm going to go Baltimore plus 260 over here, try to get a windfall on a parlay. No, I'm going to find the games that I believe I'm going to go with the pitching matchups that I really like and go from there. But you got to do more than just one or two a day. I do about 5 or 6 because you're going to lose 1 or 2. It's going to happen.
Yep.
This is what it is.
Before we get into the AFC South, one really quick prop and kind of for anyone who wants something DraftKings related. The Red Sox to win and score more than 7 runs is plus 140 currently on BetMGM. And looking at some individual player matchups against Andrew Heaney for your DFS, Xander Bogaerts, JD Martinez, Rafael Devers all have over 470 batting averages against Andrew Heaney with more than 10 at-bats. Now, that might be when he was with the Angels, but he hadn't been any good with the Yankees either. So, not to directly contradict myself that I was pulling for the Yankees, but the Red Sox could boat race today.
That's another good pick. It's plus 101 on the money line. Nick Pivetta is going to the hill for Boston.
Has been very good. His ERA will deceive you because he has been a little homer prone, but he's 6 innings, a lot of quality starts, and Haney has been bad for 3 months, and I don't hear it mentioned enough. I mean, Yankees fans are tired of this guy, so he's their Rich Hill. Since you brought up the Mets earlier,
And to be honest with you, Flaherty at home getting plus 1.5 runs is only minus 150. Normally, when you're at home getting a run and a half, you're normally, minus 200 plus, and they've got their ace on the mound. I get it that the Brewers are really good and Peralta's really good, but Jack Flaherty looked really good last time out. I think this is going to be a really low scoring game. That's asking a lot for Milwaukee to win on the road by 2 runs or more. And I apologize.
Yeah,
I apologize, Cardinal fans, for what I just did to you there. Another interesting one for you tonight, Ohtani versus Skubal. That should be a fun one. I think that's a high over under. It's 8.5.
Yeah, that seems really high. I think they're counting on Skubal giving up a couple dongs because he's gotten taken out of the park a few times more than he did in April, May, June. These last 3 starts, but the Tigers ain't hitting Ohtani.
Solid.
So
he's solid.
He's solid. Yeah.
And the Angels do not have Michael Trout. And that's something you have to take into consideration with this. I've been banging the under on the Angels a lot over the last couple of months when I've been talking about this. And it's because Trout's not there and Walsh is just getting back, but he's not playing worth a damn right now. So you don't have a lot going on in that Angels offense.
Yeah, you're not getting a grand slam every night from Joe Adele like you did last night. That's not happening every night.
As far as I know, unless they've changed the rules, Ohtani can only bat once through the order. So I think that's a high over under 8.5. All right, let's go ahead and go to the AFC South. AFC South. And we are going to be looking at, by the way, I'm doing NFC South tomorrow. So tomorrow will be Notre Dame and NFC South. I was kind of torn on which one to do today, which one to do tomorrow. But considering Sean's fandom and his son being a Colts fan, I figure we needed to do AFC South today. So AFC South should be a fun race if Carson Wentz can stay upright. If it's not, I contend the Tennessee Titans are going to run away with this division. Now, I know you said you had some hot takes on it. I'm going to give you one on mine. Okay. I don't believe in Carson Wentz. I don't believe he can stay healthy. And unless they do something drastic for a backup quarterback by the end of training camp, what I'm looking at this morning is I am going to put my money where my mouth is. The Jacksonville Jaguars will finish above the Indianapolis Colts in 2021. And I know that's a crazy, but I've got Tennessee, Jacksonville, the Colts, because no one in football is going to be worse than the Texans. What say you?
Well, you stole my hot take because that was my hot take. I am not a believer in Carson Wentz at all.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me that the Colts are going to win the division because your son's a big Colts fan. So I thought you.
I'm objective. Have you ever heard me on this show pick the Lions to win the NFC North?
I mean, I believe we're all objective, but I also believe we all get caught up in our own BS too. I mean, hell, I had the Royals going to the playoffs.
Hey, that was a great prediction halfway through May. Stop it.
If they
Quit
just
beating yourself up.
If they just would have freaking shut the damn season down because of COVID.
Right. If we had a 60-game sprint, they'd have won the World Series. Listen, I think this is Tennessee's division, and I don't think it's particularly close. And I think the race is really the Texans are racing to the 1 seed. They're racing to the bottom. I don't even want to spend any time talking about the Houston Texans. I had someone that I know that's close to me ask me in his first fantasy draft, hey, how do you feel about, David Johnson? How do you feel about, Philip Lindsay? Like, what do you think is going to happen in Houston? I'm like, if you draft a Texan in the draft, go ahead and just donate your money, like set it on fire. There's no reason to draft anybody on that team, in my opinion, in fantasy. Just stop it. You can get them on the waiver wire. You don't need to draft them, is my point. They're bad. Go from the bottom up. I think Indianapolis is going to struggle big time.
You don't think anyone is worth drafting on the Houston Texans?
Yeah.
You are not going to like your boy Matthew Berry this morning. Have you read his article?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
Who's he say to take? Tyrod, Jordan Akins, Kiki Kuti?
He's big on Brandon Cooks. Big on Brandon Cooks.
Does he realize he's had 46 concussions? He's like a stiff breeze
I
blowing into the stadium.
I don't
having
think
his career ended.
I don't think Matthew Berry knows that he himself has had 47 concussions. Okay. And I'm telling you, I saw it and I was like, all right.
I haven't read it yet.
He always talks himself into junk, and that's why I'm not a big fan. I mean, I like him. I shouldn't say I'm not a big fan because I enjoy Matthew Berry. Okay, let me put it that way.
I like him a great deal. I don't want to say that I walk in with his sheet and that's how I draft my team. I very much like him.
Few guys on ESPN that I can't smell some kind of,
condescension.
Well, also I don't. It doesn't seem like he's got some kind of alternative motive with what he's doing. Seems like he just wants to talk fantasy football, excuse me. It doesn't seem like that he's also wanting to run for Congress on the Democratic ticket in 2026, like some of these guys. So that's why I enjoy him. I'm like, he seems now, I don't like his show that much, but I love the morning show that they do in the mornings. Now, I don't like more than about an hour of it because it gets a little shticky. And I felt like it was much better when they had Hasselbeck's older brother on there.
Yeah, Tim.
Yeah, it was much better when he was on there. But I enjoy that show. I like Stefania Bell. Her and I've gone back at her on Twitter a couple of times. But in all, I like Stefania Bell. I just like everyone on that show. Field Yates is a little.
He's a little Orlovsky-ish. He's Orlovsky light.
He's Guy Smiley to me. For people who don't know who that is, he seems like a game show host. Nice guy, but I feel like he should be going. I don't know.
Before we turn this into Wake Up Nation and completely get off the tracks, did you like Sage when she was on ESPN? Because she's now the PR person for your boy Clay Travis, just nonstop on Twitter, pumping up everything he does.
I actually do like Sage still, and I didn't know that she left. Okay, it makes sense though because of what they did to her. But
she left around the same time as Britt McHenry. They went through a culling, I think, around that year. I'm just saying that
maybe
year.
I've got it. Hold on, let me pull up Sage because maybe I'm thinking of someone different. I'm thinking of someone different then because someone else was there. No, that I thought that was all right. Well, maybe she's been gone longer than I realized she has. Anyways. Yes, I did like Sage. I didn't know that she was with Outkick, but yeah, I did.
I don't know that she's with Outkick, but she's been in every Clay Travis tweet for 6 months, and she's been really pumping up the anti-vax crowd on social media.
She's still with ESPN. That's what I thought. Okay,
really? I thought she left.
No, I've seen her. I thought you had me like confused. And I had like the wrong Sage in my mind. I was like, is there two Sage? No, Sage Steele is American television anchor, host of ESPN. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that's why I thought she left because she does the noon Sports Center now, and I had only seen her do late night. So
the other girl that does the one at 6 p.m. Eastern, I always forget her name. Her and the guy that does the late night Sports Center, they cancel cultured her, and that's why I don't like them They were very mean to her when she came back from her pregnancy. They tried to basically get rid of her because they said, and I quote, "She's not black enough." I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean?
A lot of that stuff at ESPN. We don't need to go back into the Rachel Nichols, Maria Taylor thing. Back to the AFC South before we completely get off the rails here.
I'll send the names to you after the show. But yeah,
I haven't watched
Sage
SportsCenter.
Steele is a good person because she was like, well, what the hell? And I'm like, yeah, exactly, what the hell? But yeah, the AFC South. Look, I don't think it's going to be much of a race. I really don't.
No, I don't either. I think Jacksonville's going to be pleasantly surprising. I think Jacksonville could easily be this year's Chargers, the team that's 8-9, 7-10, wins a few games they shouldn't. Look, I've looked at the depth charts. I'm not crazy about what Jacksonville has on defense, and I do not have a lot of belief in Urban Meyer as a head coach. But I do believe in Urban as a culture builder. And if he's just going to let Darrell Bevell call plays, listen, Darrell Bevell won a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks as offensive coordinator. And I think people forget that all the time. I wasn't a big fan of his work in Detroit, but he's familiar with Marvin Jones. They have a lot of good players at the skill positions. And if they can just keep Lawrence dry enough, which, is a challenge because we've talked at length about the Jaguars' struggles on the offensive line. They don't seem likely to pay Cam Robinson past this year because he's playing on the tag. But if they can keep Lawrence dry, that offense is going to be exciting. And could they be this year's Chargers, right? Could Lawrence be what Herbert was last year and they go 7-10, 8-9? Absolutely. If they stay healthy. I don't trust the Colts one bit, though. Reich is on his fourth quarterback in 4 seasons. And my son trusts Frank Reich indiscriminately. But I'm sorry, you can only be so smart and do so much when you've got a quarterback with a broken foot and a broken brain. I'm sorry. There's just not a lot. There's not a lot for me to believe you can do with that. And look, I'm still not a huge believer in Mike Vrabel. He seems like he's going to be the defensive coordinator this year, but they signed Dupree. They bring in Danico Autry, which was a huge get from Indianapolis. And if they get anything out of Caleb Farley this season, if the defense is just passable and they can just keep people under 25 points a game, that offense is going to go insane. They might be the best offense in the AFC that's not the Chiefs. They could score 35 a game, easy, if they stay healthy, which again, we could prescribe to any team that we do.
That's a big question mark, though, because Julio Jones it concerns me that Julio Jones has been so limited in the workouts this fall or summer, however you want to categorize it, because he's been banged up a lot the last couple of years. So it concerns the hell out of me. If he's healthy, sure, that's great. He's not spring chicken anymore. And now look, they might just be saying, okay, well, we're worried about the regular season. We're gonna make sure you guys are healthy. We know what we have. We can win this division. I get that. He's also trying to gel with a brand new quarterback and a brand new offense. So I don't think it's just as easy as plug and play. And this isn't fantasy football, right? You can't just put a guy in there and go, okay, you'll be fine. It's week 1. You'll be fine. What I'll say about the Jaguars is this, and we talked about the Jags on Monday. They start off with a very favorable schedule that they could get things rolling. They're at the Texans. They can win that game. They're at home against the Broncos. They can win that game. And they get the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are going to be good. It is a 1 p.m. Eastern kickoff. It's crazy to say this, but the Jacksonville Jaguars, if everything fell right, and they actually get some production, especially in the offense, because I'm a little concerned with what I saw in the first preseason game, but I'm still going to bank on the fact that Urban Meyer is a good football coach. I don't care if it's National Football League or college, okay? They could start off 4-0 because they've got the Texans, the Broncos, the Cardinals, and the Bengals. That team could be 4-0 heading home to face the Titans to start the season.
Good.
Do you think that's going to happen? Probably not. They're probably more likely to be 2-2. But they could get off to a good start. Now, they got a much tougher road when you get later in the schedule. Later in the schedule, especially towards the end of the season, that's where the rubber is going to meet the road. And you're going to see this is a very young team. And I'm a little concerned that the Jacksonville Jaguars, the front office, Urban Meyer basically said that he sat in on the conversation and was learning from the general manager. And I'm like, dude, this is also your team, man. You're letting them just move guys around. They made a trade over the weekend that a lot of people missed out on. One of Jacksonville's better linebackers got traded away, and they were
Joe Schobert, to Pittsburgh.
And they were doing it for future draft picks. And he's like, we got depth on the line. Man, you never have enough depth in the NFL in linebacking. And you're made a trade for, I believe it was a 6th round pick. He's been his press conferences have been so focused on what the special teams is doing. What that tells me is you're planning on doing a lot of damn punting. I mean, that's one thing that concerns me is that does he really believe this team is going to move the ball? Because why does he keep talking about the damn special teams? Because the defense played well against Cleveland, but Cleveland didn't really start their starters. So I don't think they're going to make leaps and bounds. The offensive line is a big concern in Jacksonville. DJ Chark's got to get his ass on the field. He's yet to step on the field yet. They think he might play here in the dress rehearsal but I'm not expecting it. So I've got concerns, but I've got bigger concerns with Carson Wentz. Man, that dude is not going to stay healthy. If he doesn't stay healthy, this is going to be a lot of talent standing around going, crap. Easton,
right.
Really? Easton?
This guy can't play.
Come on, Nick Foles. Come on in.
Right.
Boy,
I'm tired of that.
And that was lightning in a bottle 4 years ago.
Right. Exactly. That was the ultimate lightning in a bottle story. People keep trying to pay him $8, $9, $10 million to see if they can find lightning in a bottle again. It's like, there's a reason it only happens once.
Fireflies don't live 4 years in captivity. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
So when they sign Firefly off the waivers, which we know they're going to, okay, they'll have their backup quarterback, but I don't believe in that. And so I like the upside on what Jacksonville can do. And as you're going to see Trevor Lawrence mature, I also like the weapons they got. I like ETN. I like Marvin Jones. There's so much to like about Jacksonville, but them being young is a big concern. The Colts seem like to me they're a really good team, but they don't have a damn quarterback, and that's a big concern in the National Football League. And then, like you said, man, the Texans are trash. They're absolutely trash.
They're unwatchable.
Do you even think that Sean Watson's going to play in a Texans uniform this year? Because even if I know you think he's going to get suspended, and I think he is going to get suspended, but that's not important. Will he even play? Because if he doesn't, look, let's say they don't get suspended, but they're picketing outside the damn stadium. Like, will they even put him on the field? And will he be willing to play? Because he says he doesn't want to be a Texan. He's delusional. He thinks everyone still wants him, which is how
I am on the record. I am on the record as saying that I do not think you will ever see Deshaun Watson wear a Texans jersey in an NFL game again. And I'm also on the record as saying I don't think the NFL is going to suspend him. I think they're going to make the Texans handle it in-house, and they're going to be like, y'all made this mess. Y'all clean it up. I just don't think they're going to suspend him. The reporting I've read on the NFL investigating and interviewing some of the victims who have civil suits against him, some of the victims have been like, hey, they were basically kind of interrogating us and treating us like we were the criminals here. So, I don't really know. And that was just the ones that spoke out. So I don't think the NFL is going to suspend him by any means. I think they're going to wait for the legal process to run itself free. And I think the Texans are going to put him in mothballs until they can trade him. That's how I think it's going to play out. But I could be wrong.
The problem is if you do leave it in their hands and they say, screw it, we're going to let them play because you didn't suspend them, then
now you got a PR nightmare. Yep.
I believe you have to suspend them. If you don't, it's embarrassing for the league if you don't suspend them. We'll just put it that way. All right. So that puts a cap on that. Titans are going to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl, and the Texans will never win a football game ever again. There you go. It's time to turn back time and get the hell on out of y'all here on a beautiful Wednesday morning. Getting ready for a lot of early baseball. Cannot wait. Here we go. Boom. Come on, reload. Every damn morning. There we go. I cannot wait to get my new device. This thing reloads itself and moves things around. I'm like, I don't see what I'm looking for. All right. On this date, Turn back time, 1981. Herschel Walker signs a Lloyd of London policy on himself, a $1 million policy, groundbreaking for an athlete of that time. Also on this date, 1982, Pete Rose sets the record for plate appearances at 13,941. Now, this is 4 years before he breaks the hit record. So for people that always try to tell you that Pete Rose is the greatest hitter, no. It's Ty Cobb, baby boy. Many more plate appearances, and Ty Cobb is a 367 lifetime hitter. Get the hell out of here. During the dead ball era. Also on this date. Actually, never mind. Birthdays.
It's your birthday today.
All right, dead guys.
What does that mean?
The great Roberto Clemente was born on this date in 1934. 15-time All-Star 1971 MVP. His plane would crash the following year in 72. This is also the birthday, would be 93 years old if she would live at Marge Schott. Marge ought to be shot, as they used to call her. Born in Cincinnati, she was the Reds owner. Second female owner in the history of Major League Baseball, the first being the New York Mets when they first got their team. I don't think a lot of people, I think everyone always thought she was the first, but she was actually the second. Joanne Whitney Payson was the Mets one. And of course, she was famously in trouble for
literally nonstop.
Yeah.
Just endlessly in trouble.
She, I can't say the words, but she called Dave Parker and Eric Davis the word. And then she also couldn't understand why Jap was a bad word. And
she was something.
She defended Hitler as being good at the beginning.
She was one of a kind, and I don't mean that in a good way.
Live guys that are still with us as far as we last checked this morning. Kenny Skywalker, remember him? 57 years old today. It's Steve Avery, the last Atlanta Brave to throw a no-hitter. 55 years old. The big four that was the big three. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
My walk-off for today is kind of a somber one, but prayers up to Chris Bassett. If you didn't see it last night, we don't see a lot of pitchers get conked on line drives up the middle anymore. But he got tagged right in the head last night in the Oakland White Sox game. Prayers up to him. He's apparently in good spirits. Has, some kind of maybe some kind of fracture. It looked like it hit him kind of right here in the middle of the temple, right above the eye sockets. So prayers up to him. And, hopefully the A's can shake that off because they've been really hot lately and they're coming for Houston. Games I'm watching, obviously Mets Giants early on. That's just an amazing matchup, and go Braves tonight. Charlie Morton on the bump, looking for 6 straight on the road.
My walk-off for the days, I'm going to kind of do this Dan Patrick style. What did you learn today? I learned that Sean O'Toole will confuse the hell out of you. 2 times in 12 hours, he's confused me, and I've had to double check and go, what is he talking about? And find out, no, he's confused. Sage Steele is still with the ESPN, and AJ Minter is an Atlanta Brave, despite your text last night. He, I don't know.
Was he recalled from Gwinnett? I missed it.
Like a week.
I missed it if he was recalled. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Like a week ago, he's pitched 3 innings since then. I was like, so he's really not watching the Braves. He's over here just.
No, I mean,
quit watching the Yankees, man. They're not frisky. they're rich. They're loaded.
See y'all next week. Have a good day.
Yeah, that's right. You won't be with us Saturday, correct?
Nope.
All right, brother. We
indisposed. See ya.
All right, brother. We'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got Notre Dame and we've got the NFC South. We'll see you tomorrow.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.